The wasteland stretched endlessly. Broken metal, burned rocks, and ashes covered the ground. Smoke rose from ruined buildings and fallen ships, twisting into the dark orange sky. The air smelled of fire and dust, and every step crunched underfoot. Silence ruled the land, so thick that even the wind seemed afraid to move. Human soldiers walked carefully across the ruins. Their armor was scratched and worn. Their faces were tired and grim. Many had fought in countless battles, and many had seen friends die in wars that seemed never-ending. Still, they moved cautiously, expecting danger at every turn. No one spoke. No one laughed. Only the sound of boots on crushed metal echoed faintly across the empty wasteland. Then something unusual happened. A small figure appeared in the distance. At first it was just a blur, a movement in the dust. But as it came closer, the soldiers noticed it was a child. An alien child, small and thin, walking alone. Her skin was pale blue, almost glowing faintly, with soft, pulsing patterns along her arms and face. Her clothes were torn and dusty, evidence of long travel and hardship. Her feet left light prints on the ground, fading quickly in the ashes. Her large, expressive eyes scanned the humans, full of fear and determination. The soldiers stopped. Some raised their rifles instinctively while others froze, unsure what to do. The commander, a tall man with a scar across his cheek, stepped forward slowly. His eyes narrowed behind his visor as he studied the girl. "She's alone," one soldier whispered. "Yes," the commander replied quietly. "And we will see what she wants before judging her." The alien girl continued walking forward. Her steps were hesitant, trembling slightly, but she did not turn back. Dust swirled around her small frame as the wind kicked up, tugging at her torn clothes. The commander raised one hand, signaling the soldiers to hold their fire. His heart beat faster than he liked to admit. He had faced many enemies, but this child was different. Something about her made him pause. She stopped a few meters away from the humans. Her hands lifted slowly, fingers trembling. She was unarmed, showing no sign of attack. Only courage, and perhaps desperation, stood between her and the soldiers. A cold, tense silence filled the air. Every soldier waited for her to make the first move. Finally she spoke. Her voice was soft but clear, her words broken but understandable. I come to speak," she said. The commander blinked. His brow furrowed. "To speak?" he asked. "Alone in the middle of a battlefield?" The girl nodded. Her glowing patterns pulsed slightly faster as if echoing the rhythm of her heartbeat. "My people are hiding," she continued. "They're scared. They think humans will destroy everything." The soldiers shifted nervously. Some whispered to each other, unable to hide the surprise in their voices. The commander took another step forward. "And why should we listen to you?" he asked. The girl looked at him directly, her gaze steady despite her fear. "Because I offer a choice," she said. The word made the air heavier. The soldiers exchanged nervous glances. The commander's jaw tightened. He had heard rumors of aliens capable of strange and deadly tactics, but this was different. "What kind of choice?" the commander asked carefully. The girl swallowed hard. "A choice that can end this war," she said. "But it will cost me everything." The soldiers froze. Some lowered their weapons slightly, unable to believe the words. The commander's mind raced. He had trained for threats, for ambushes, for lies. But this was not a threat. This was courage. And it frightened him more than any weapon. The girl's eyes flicked toward the horizon, where destroyed ships still burned. "I know humans feel pain," she said softly. "I see it here." The soldiers felt the weight of her words. She was not pleading for herself. She was speaking for someone else, someone she wanted to protect. The commander stepped closer, his voice calmer now. "You are a child. You do not understand the cost of such a choice." The girl lifted her chin, determination in her gaze. "I understand," she said. "I am ready." A gust of wind tore across the wasteland, lifting dust into the air. The ruined battlefield seemed to hold its breath. Even the human soldiers felt it. The alien girl stood alone, small and fragile, yet impossibly brave. One step, one word, one choice could change the fate of many. The commander studied her for a long moment. He realized that the universe had handed him a test, not of strength but of humanity. And in that silent wasteland, the war paused, waiting to see what humans would do next. Because a child had come forward, and no one expected the sacrifice she was willing to make. The alien child stood still for a moment, her small chest rising and falling rapidly. Dust swirled around her like ghostly fingers, tugging at her torn clothes. Every part of her wanted to run. Fear bit at her legs and stomach. Her heart raced. Yet she stayed. The human commander studied her closely. His hand rested near his weapon, but he did not raise it. Something in her made him pause. Not just fear. Determination. A courage that no soldier, human or alien, could ignore. "Why are you here?" the commander finally asked, his voice steady though his eyes were wary. The child lifted her glowing eyes to meet his. "I came to save," she said softly. "Save?" The commander's brow furrowed. "From what?" Her gaze shifted toward the horizon, where broken ships still smoldered and twisted metal littered the wasteland. "From war," she said. "From destruction. From people like me being taken too soon." The soldiers whispered among themselves. This was unexpected. Most of them had fought alien enemies before, but none had seen a child come forward, unarmed, unafraid, and speaking of sacrifice. The commander stepped closer, careful not to startle her. "You do not understand humans," he said. "We are dangerous. We kill to survive. We fight to win." "I know," she replied. "But I have seen what happens when fear rules. I will not run. I will not hide." Her voice trembled slightly, but her words carried weight. The soldiers exchanged glances. A child talking about courage in the middle of a battlefield? This was not something they were trained to face. The girl raised a small hand. "I am not here to fight," she said. "I am here to show you something." The commander's eyes narrowed. "And what is that?" "The choice you have," she said, her voice firmer now. "The choice to protect, or destroy." Her words hung in the air, heavier than any weapon. The soldiers lowered their rifles slightly, uncertain. They had expected a fight. They had expected a trap. Not this. The alien girl took a careful step forward. Dust lifted around her feet. "My people, my family, they are hiding. They are scared. They think humans will take everything. But I believe humans can choose differently." One of the soldiers whispered, "She trusts us." The commander did not answer immediately. He studied the child. She was small, fragile, but her determination burned brighter than any fire they had seen in this wasteland. "You think we can change the outcome?" he asked quietly. "Yes," she said simply. "If you choose." A gust of wind blew, carrying ash and smoke across the field. Her glowing patterns flickered faintly, pulsing with her heartbeat. She was afraid, yes, but there was a courage in her stance that demanded attention. "Why risk yourself?" the commander asked. "Why come here alone?" "Because someone has to," she said. "Someone must be brave first. Someone must show the way." Her words echoed in the silence. No one moved. The humans, hardened by battles and loss, felt a strange weight in their hearts. They were soldiers trained for war, but this child, this small alien, had something they had not expected: hope. The girl looked down at her hands. "I could run," she said softly. "I could hide. But then, my sister, my people, would die." The soldiers felt the emotion in her words. Even those who had seen death and destruction could not ignore it. The commander stepped forward, closing the distance. "You are a child," he said gently. "You cannot understand what comes next. Humans are not kind to the weak." The girl's gaze lifted. "I know," she whispered. "And that is why I must stand." For a moment, silence ruled again. Dust floated in the air, twisting slowly. The alien child, small and unarmed, had become the center of the battlefield. No one moved. No one spoke. The wind itself seemed to pause, as if the wasteland were holding its breath. Then, slowly, the commander lowered his hand from near his weapon. Not fully, but enough to show he was listening. "You are very brave," he said quietly. "Perhaps braver than most humans I know." The girl felt a flicker of hope. "I only want to show the truth," she said. "That your choice matters." The soldiers shifted slightly, unsure what to do. They had trained to react to threats, to fire first and ask questions later. But here, the threat was not theirs. It belonged to something larger, something far beyond mere weapons. The commander looked at the child for a long moment. He realized this was no ordinary moment in war. This was a test of humanity. And in that silent, ruined wasteland, with broken ships and scorched earth all around, the alien child had already won something. Attention. Respect. And maybe, the beginning of trust. The future hung in the balance. Because a child, alone and unarmed, had dared to stand in the middle of the battlefield, and humans would have to choose how they responded. The alien girl took a deep breath. Her small chest rose and fell quickly, each heartbeat echoing in the quiet wasteland. The soldiers watched her closely, unsure if this was a trick. The commander's hand rested near his weapon, but he did not raise it. He sensed something bigger than a battlefield unfolding here. "I came with an offer," she said softly, her voice trembling but steady. The soldiers froze. Whispers spread through the human line. The commander's eyes narrowed. "What kind of offer?" he asked. The girl swallowed hard. Her glowing skin flickered faintly. "I can stop the war," she said. "But it will cost me everything." The words hit the humans like a hammer. Some lowered their rifles slightly, unable to believe what they had heard. The commander stepped closer, careful not to intimidate her. "Everything? You're a child. You do not understand what that means." "I do," she said. "I have thought about it every night. I know the pain, the fear. I know the cost. But I must do it." The soldiers held their breath. Even the wind seemed to pause. Dust swirled around her tiny figure as if acknowledging her bravery. "My people are hiding," she continued. "They are scared of humans. They believe you will take everything, even children. They prepared something terrible if I fail to come here first." The commander's eyes widened slightly. "Something terrible?" "Yes," she whispered. "A final attack. One that could destroy many worlds." The soldiers stiffened. The wasteland seemed to grow darker, as if the earth itself feared her words. "I am ready," she said, lifting her glowing eyes to the commander. "I offer myself. Take my life if you must. Spare my people." Silence fell. The humans did not move. They had seen soldiers fight, children caught in war, countless battles, but never had a child offered herself like this. The commander's jaw tightened. He had faced enemies twice his size. He had survived ambushes and explosions. But this was different. "You want us to kill you?" he asked carefully. The girl shook her head. "No," she said. "Not to kill me, to stop them. My death will save many lives. That is why I came." A gust of wind tore across the wasteland, lifting ash and debris into the air. Her hands trembled as she lifted them to her chest. "I am ready to pay the price. I do not fear it." The commander felt a strange weight in his chest. He had fought wars to protect humanity, but now he faced a child who understood sacrifice in a way that humbled even him. "You are offering yourself to stop a war," he said quietly. "You are saying your life is smaller than others." "I am not afraid," the girl replied, "because I must protect them. My sister, my people, they are counting on me." The soldiers whispered to each other, their weapons still lowered. They had been trained to expect the worst, but what they were witnessing was courage beyond their understanding. The commander stepped closer, placing his armored hand near hers, careful not to touch her directly. "You understand that we could refuse," he said. "And in refusing we risk lives as well." The girl nodded. "I know. That is why I must act. Even if I must face death, I will do it willingly. That is my choice. I offer it so the war may end." The human commander stared at her, torn. He had seen mercy, honor, and bravery, but never had he seen them combined in such a fragile form. He lowered his head for a moment, reflecting. In all his years he had given orders that sent soldiers to die. But this was not about orders. This was about a choice, one the galaxy might never forget. "You think you can stop them alone?" he asked quietly. "I do not think," the girl said firmly. "I know. I cannot control everything, but I can control this. My life can buy time. My courage can show humans, and them, another way." The commander took a deep breath. Around him, the soldiers waited, uncertain and silent. The alien child's words hung in the air like fire ready to ignite. "And if we refuse your offer?" he asked. She looked him directly in the eyes. "Then more will die. And I cannot live with that. I will not hide. I will face them even alone to protect those I love." The commander felt a chill. The wasteland seemed to hold its breath. A child standing alone, offering herself to save countless lives. It was impossible, unbelievable, but true. The wind swept through the battlefield, lifting dust and ash into the dark sky. The alien child lifted her head higher, her small glowing figure standing in defiance, in courage, in hope. The choice had been made. And now humanity would have to respond. The wasteland fell silent. The alien girl stood alone, trembling slightly. Her glowing patterns flickered with fear and hope. She had offered herself, ready to sacrifice her life to stop a war that could destroy countless worlds. She expected judgment, violence, even death. But the humans did not move. The commander, a tall man with a scar across his face, lowered his hand from near his weapon. Slowly, carefully, he signaled the soldiers to hold their fire. The soldiers hesitated. They had trained to react quickly, to shoot first and ask later. But here a child stood in the open, offering her life. And they paused. The commander's eyes softened. He had seen enough death to know the value of life, especially a child's. You risked everything, he said quietly, for people you barely know. The alien girl's eyes widened. I only want to save them, she whispered. And you have, he replied. By standing here, you have forced us to remember something important. The soldiers watched him, unsure what he meant. Humans have fought countless battles, the commander continued. We have taken lives, destroyed worlds, and left scars across the galaxy. But that does not mean we are monsters. It does not mean we always have to destroy. The alien girl tilted her head, confused but listening. We have a choice, he said. Even in war we can choose mercy. Even in destruction we can choose to protect instead of destroy. A soft breeze swept across the wasteland, lifting dust around the girl. She looked at the humans, disbelief and hope mixing in her glowing eyes. Mercy? She whispered. Yes, the commander said. You came here expecting us to take your life. But that is not what we do. We remember who we are. The soldiers lowered their weapons fully now. Some sighed, relief passing over their faces. The alien girl took a small step forward, her hands shaking. You will not harm me? She asked. Not if we can help it, the commander replied. We do not kill children. We do not accept your sacrifice. That choice is yours, not ours. The girl's glowing lines flickered rapidly, her fear mixing with relief. She had come prepared to die, expecting humans to act only as destroyers. But they were different. Stronger. Kinder. Then, what happens now? She asked. The commander glanced toward the horizon, where the alien ships hovered, weapons ready. Now, he said, we show them what humans are capable of. Not with fire, not with death, but with choice. The soldiers moved into position, but this time it was not to attack. They formed a protective circle around the girl. Shields activated, scanners monitored the skies, but no weapon aimed at the alien child. She looked at them, tears filling her eyes. You protect me? Yes, the commander said. Because your life matters. Because courage matters. Because mercy matters. The alien ships above pulsed with light. The voices of her people echoed in the air, tense and commanding. Child, why do you not fear them? One voice demanded. I do fear, she said, her voice firm. But humans have shown me another way. They remember who they are. The commander stepped closer to her. Your courage forced us to remember, he said. You did not need to die to teach us that. You only needed to stand. A whisper ran through the human line. Even hardened soldiers felt it, the weight of what the child had done. She offered herself, one soldier said softly. And we didn't take it. Yes, the commander said. Because humanity is not only about fighting. It is about choosing. And today we chose to protect instead of destroy. The alien girl looked up at the sky. The ships hovered uncertainly, their weapons still charged but unused. Somewhere far away her sister watched, waiting for her return. The girl felt hope rise inside her chest. She had prepared for death, but now she realized that life and choice, could be stronger than any weapon. Do you see? The commander asked. This war is not only about power. It is about courage, mercy, and the choices we make when no one is watching. The alien girl nodded slowly, tears sliding down her cheeks. For the first time since she arrived, she felt a spark of something stronger than fear, trust. The wasteland, though scarred and broken, seemed to breathe with them. The winds carried a new sense of possibility, a fragile but growing peace. The alien child and the humans stood together, waiting to see if courage and choice could outshine war. And in that silent wasteland, humanity remembered itself. The wasteland remained quiet, but the silence was fragile. Above them, alien ships hovered, their engines low and humming like a storm waiting to break. Weapon systems glowed faintly, charged and ready. The soldiers tensed, knowing that at any moment chaos could erupt. The alien child held her sister's hand tightly. Her small frame shook, not from fear alone, but from the weight of the choice she had offered. She had come ready to die to protect her people. She had expected humans to take her life without question. But now, she didn't know what to hope for. Commander, a soldier whispered nervously. They're preparing to fire. The commander looked up. The alien fleet had aligned, bright energy pulsating along their weapons. They expect her to fall, he said quietly. They believe sacrifice will force our hand. The girl swallowed hard. It is my fault, she murmured. If I hadn't come, they would not hesitate. The commander shook his head. No. You came to offer a choice. And they are the ones deciding now. Her glowing patterns flickered with uncertainty. I cannot let anyone die, she said. Not my people, not them. Before anyone could stop her, she stepped forward, her small body moving into the open wasteland. The human soldiers tensed. Some reached for weapons instinctively. The commander raised a hand. Wait, he said. The girl lifted her head to the sky. I am here, she shouted in her alien tongue, her voice trembling but strong. I will give my life if you spare them. The alien ships paused for a moment, their weapons still charged, their lights flickering. The humans held their positions. The soldiers' hearts raced. They had trained for ambushes, for fire, for death, but never for a child willing to stand in the open like a shield for others. A deep, commanding voice resonated from one of the alien ships. Child, give yourself. You are the price. The girl's knees shook. Her small hands clenched. I am ready, she said, almost whispering. Take me. Spare them all. The commander stepped forward, placing his hand near her shoulder. No, he said firmly. We will not accept your sacrifice. Not today. The girl looked up at him, confusion and fear in her wide eyes. But, if I do not? You have already given more than most can imagine, the commander said. We choose protection, not destruction. A low hum rolled through the air as alien energy built. Weapons systems glowed brighter. If you refuse, we fire, another voice declared. The girl's hands trembled violently. Tears streamed down her face. Her heart raced faster than she thought possible. Then I will face it, she cried. I will do what must be done. The commander's jaw tightened. Stand behind us, he said, signaling his soldiers to form a protective circle. You will not face this alone. The girl nodded, holding her sister close. Dust and ash whipped around them as tension filled the air. Every heartbeat felt like an explosion. The alien ships pulsed with energy, weapons locked on. The first signs of heat began to shimmer across the wasteland. Smoke and sparks danced along the ground. The girl closed her eyes and whispered a prayer to her people, to the humans, to the universe itself. If this is the end, let it save everyone. The commander raised his hand, his voice steady and clear. We choose mercy. We will not take you. We will protect you. That is the strength of humanity. The air changed. The alien ships hesitated. Pulses of energy dimmed. A silent tension passed over the battlefield. The ship's leaders communicated rapidly, their voices tense, uncertain. The girl opened her eyes. Hope flickered faintly. She saw the humans around her, their weapons lowered but ready, their courage unwavering. She realized something extraordinary. Humans had chosen to stand for her, to protect a child instead of accepting an easy victory. Her small voice rose again. I offer myself, but only if it ends the war. The commander shook his head, softly but firmly. Your life is not a bargaining chip. Courage and mercy are stronger than fear. You do not have to die for them to listen. The alien ships pulsed one last time. Slowly they began to pull back, testing the humans' resolve. The lights dimmed, weapons disengaged. The child's legs trembled, her heart still racing. Her sister hugged her tightly. She had come to give her life, and yet the humans had chosen a different path. A fragile peace hovered over the wasteland. The cost of war had not yet vanished, but one small act of courage had shifted the balance. And for the first time in her life, the alien child understood something humans always knew. Sacrifice is not only in death. True strength is in protecting life even when it is hardest. The wasteland waited. The ships hovered uncertainly. The humans stood together. And the child, she breathed again. The war had not ended. But hope had returned. The wasteland remained tense. Dust and smoke swirled around the soldiers and the alien child. The sky above was filled with alien ships, weapons still charged, engines humming like a storm ready to explode. The alien child held her sister's hand tightly. Her small body trembled, but her eyes were bright with determination. She had prepared to sacrifice herself, yet humans had refused to accept it. Her hope felt fragile like glass in the wind. The commander stepped forward, raising one hand to signal the soldiers. Power down the weapons, he said. The soldiers hesitated. Many had trained their entire lives to react first, fire first, survive. But this order, it was unusual, risky, almost impossible. Yet they obeyed. Slowly, one by one, they lowered their weapons, deactivating targeting systems and disengaging heavy cannons. The alien child stared in disbelief. You are letting them live?" she whispered. "Yes," the commander said. "We are not here to kill. We are here to protect." A low hum ran through the sky. The alien ships above pulsed, bright energy flowing along their hulls. Confused voices echoed in the child's mind. What? They should strike, one voice demanded. They chose mercy, she replied. Humans remembered who they are. The alien fleet hesitated. For the first time they did not move forward aggressively. Weapons remained charged but idle. The humans' unexpected choice had caught them off guard. Do you see? The commander said, turning to the alien child. Your courage forced this moment. You stood alone, and we chose not to destroy. Tears welled in the child's eyes. She had come expecting death, expecting humans to act only as destroyers. But they had done something impossible. They had protected her. The alien ships pulsed uncertainly. One ship descended slowly, landing lightly on the ash-strewn ground. A hatch opened and a small figure stepped out. The child's heart leapt. Her sister. She ran forward and the two hugged tightly, tears streaming freely. Humans stepped aside, forming a circle of protection without orders. Your choice, it matters, the commander said softly. Even in war, mercy has power. Courage has power. Hope has power. The alien ships remained close, still tense, but their lights dimmed. The leaders communicated rapidly, voices uncertain. They had never expected humans to act this way. The child looked at the commander. You would risk everything, for me? She asked. We would, he replied. Because humans protect life when it matters most. Even when it is hard. A soft wind swept across the wasteland, lifting dust and ash like a promise. The ships slowly began to pull back, retreating but watching carefully. The alien child's sister held her hand tightly. They saved you, she whispered. Yes, the child replied. And now, maybe they can save everyone else too. The commander nodded. This is only the beginning. We have shown them a new way. Now we must help the galaxy remember it. Humans and aliens stared at each other across the wasteland. The battle had not ended, but the first choice toward peace had been made. For the first time, mercy had outshone fear. The child looked up at the sky, hope burning in her eyes. The ships hovered, still ready but hesitant. For the first time she felt that life, and courage, could be stronger than weapons. Do you see it? The commander said. Humans are not perfect, but we choose. And sometimes that choice can change everything. The alien child nodded, her glowing patterns flickering softly. She had come expecting death, and instead she found something far greater. Trust, protection, and the unexpected power of humanity. The wasteland exhaled silently. Dust settled. The future hung in the balance. The war was far from over, but hope had returned. And for the first time, the alien child knew that courage could be contagious, and that humans could inspire even the most desperate to believe in mercy. The wasteland was quiet now. Smoke drifted lazily across the horizon, and the ground still bore the scars of battle. But for the first time in years, the battlefield did not feel empty. The alien child stood beside her sister, holding her hand tightly. The humans had protected her, had chosen mercy instead of violence, and had forced the alien fleet to reconsider. Hope, fragile but growing, lingered in the air like the first light of dawn. The commander watched silently. Around him, the soldiers lowered their weapons and looked at the child with quiet respect. He had seen wars, battles, and endless death, but this moment, this was different. This was not about victory. It was about courage, mercy, and humanity. You saved more than lives today, the commander said softly to the alien child. You reminded us who we are. The girl blinked, her glowing patterns dimming slightly as relief and emotion mixed. I only wanted to protect them, she whispered. And you did, he replied. Not by dying but by standing. By showing courage. That courage forced us to choose differently. The alien ships above slowly retreated. Their weapons were powered down, and the leaders communicated in hurried, uncertain tones. The humans had done something the aliens had not expected. They had shown mercy in the face of fear. Her sister looked at her, eyes wide. You lived, she said softly. Yes, the child replied. Because they chose to protect instead of destroy. The human soldiers began helping wounded aliens and humans alike. Medics moved through the wasteland, treating injuries, offering water, and showing care across species lines. The child watched, understanding finally that true strength was not in weapons or fear, but in the choice to protect life, even when it was hardest. Years later, stories of that day spread across planets. Children learned about the courage of a small alien who had faced the battlefield alone. Soldiers spoke quietly of the humans who had refused an easy victory to protect a child. The tale became legend, not of war but of the moment when mercy had outshone fear. The child grew older, always carrying the memory of that wasteland, the humans who had protected her, and the choice they made. She and her sister worked to rebuild what remained of their home, bringing hope where there had been only fear. Commander Hale, as the humans called him, walked across a rebuilt world, looking at green forests where once there had been ashes. He thought of the child who had offered herself, of the courage that had changed everything, and of humanity's choice to remember itself. Not perfect, he said quietly to himself, but capable of this. And somewhere among the stars, the alien child whispered a promise to herself and to humanity. I will never forget. I will tell the story of those who chose mercy. The story of those who remembered courage. And maybe, one day others will choose the same. The stars glimmered above. Across planets and galaxies, the tale of courage, choice, and humanity spread. The wasteland was no longer only a place of scars and death. It became a symbol of hope. For the first time, the alien child understood what the humans had known all along. Strength was not in fire or destruction, but in protecting life when it mattered most. And that story would never be forgotten. Because courage had been shown by one small alien, and humanity had risen to meet it. The galaxy remembered,